Today's news has sent shockwaves through Australia's senior community. A major government decision has just changed the way age pension payments are managed, and for many older Australians, this could mean a direct impact on their monthly income, eligibility, and budgeting. For years, seniors have relied on the stability of the age pension as their lifeline, a promise of security after decades of hard work. But now, new rules are coming into effect, and they are not small adjustments. They could reshape how millions of retirees plan their futures. Before we go deep into these changes, let me say this clearly. This update affects every single pensioner across the country, whether you're receiving a full pension, a part pension, or even waiting to qualify soon. So please, don't skip this video, every detail matters. And if you're new here, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you never miss an important update about pensions, payments, and government decisions that directly affect you and your loved ones. We are here every week to keep you informed, supported, and prepared. The government has made a final decision on how pension indexation, income tests, and asset thresholds will be applied starting next year. Officials say the goal is to make the system more sustainable and fair, but for many seniors, these words sound uncertain and worrying. When a policy changes, especially one that decides how much money arrives in your bank account each fortnight, it can cause real stress, especially for those living on fixed incomes. Over the last few months, government departments, advocacy groups, and pension councils have been in deep discussion about how the country should handle the rising cost of living, inflation, and the growing senior population. The government argues that adjustments were necessary because costs of running the pension system are rising fast. But seniors across the nation are speaking out, saying that the changes feel unfair, confusing, and rushed. The biggest change is related to the income and asset tests, which decide who qualifies for the full or part age pension. Under the new decision, the income test thresholds will be adjusted slightly upward, but the way the taper rate works, the rate at which your pension reduces once your income exceeds a certain point, will be changed too. In simple terms, this means some people will see a small increase, but others may lose part of their pension faster than before. For example, a senior couple with modest savings could find that even a small increase in their bank interest or super income might reduce their fortnightly pension more than expected. On paper, the government says this creates fairness by ensuring those with higher resources rely less on the public system. But in reality, for many seniors, it feels like punishment for saving responsibly. Another major part of the decision focuses on indexation, the process of increasing pensions based on inflation and wages. The government has announced that the new formula will rely more heavily on the Consumer Price Index, CPI, rather than wage growth. This matters because when inflation slows down but wages rise faster, pensions may not keep up with the living costs that retirees actually face. Some experts are already warning that this move could make seniors fall behind financially in the years ahead. Seniors organisations across the country have expressed strong concern. They say the government's decision comes at a time when older Australians are already struggling with rent, groceries, medication, and power bills. Many have called it a tone-deaf move that ignores the reality of pensioner life. One retiree from Sydney said, "We are not asking for luxury, we just want stability. Every time the government makes a change, we are the ones who have to adjust our lives." At the same time, there are small positive points buried in the details. For lower-income pensioners, the new system will slightly increase the threshold for extra benefits like energy supplements and rent assistance. That means some people could receive a little extra relief, especially those renting privately or paying rising utility costs. But the problem is, these gains are small compared to what some retirees may lose through reduced fortnightly pension payments. For people planning to retire soon, this decision changes everything. The age pension used to be seen as predictable, but now you'll need to plan more carefully to understand how these new rules will affect your total retirement income. Financial advisors are recommending that people check their current superannuation balances, savings, and projected income to make sure they don't get caught off guard by these new taper rates and thresholds. For now, the Department of Social Services has said the changes will start rolling out gradually from early next year. They've promised clear communication, but many seniors remember past times when changes were announced with little explanation, leaving people confused about what they were supposed to do. That's why it's more important than ever to stay updated. So let's break this down in the simplest way possible. These new rules mean that if your income or savings go up even slightly, your pension may reduce faster than before. If you depend fully on the age pension, you might not notice a big difference right away. But if you're someone who receives a part pension because you have savings, superannuation, or other small income sources, this could hit you harder. In real-life terms, that means many seniors who have worked hard, saved responsibly, and expected to live comfortably in retirement may now face tighter budgets and new calculations. It's not just numbers, it's about daily life. It's about whether you can afford fresh groceries, whether you can turn the heater on in winter without fear of the bill, and whether you can still visit family without worrying about fuel prices. Seniors across social media and community forums are already reacting strongly. Some are calling for petitions to reverse or delay the changes, while others are urging the government to hold more consultations before finalizing the implementation. People are sharing stories of how they are already stretched thin, and this decision, they say, could make things even tougher. As we continue, let's look at why the government made this move, how it plans to apply it, and what seniors can do to protect themselves financially under the new system. Now that we've gone through the main points of what has changed, let's talk about the reason why the government made this decision and how they are defending it. According to officials, the purpose behind these new rules is to modernize the pension system and ensure that funds remain sustainable for the next generation of retirees. The government claims that, without changes, the system could become too expensive to maintain in the long term, especially as the population ages and more Australians live longer, healthier lives. In their press statement, the Minister for Social Services said the decision wasn't easy, but was necessary to balance fairness and sustainability. The government says that by slightly tightening the eligibility and adjusting the rate at which pensions reduce when income rises, it can protect the long-term stability of the program. Officials argue that it's better to act now with smaller adjustments than to face drastic cuts in the future. But while that might sound logical on paper, the reality for seniors is much more personal. To many, it feels like yet another reminder that their financial security depends on political decisions, decisions that are often made without enough consultation with the people most affected. Older Australians have spent decades contributing to the country, paying taxes, raising families, and building the economy. Now, many say they deserve stability and respect in return. Let's take a moment to imagine how this plays out for someone on a fixed pension. Picture a retired couple, both in their late 70s, living quietly in suburban Brisbane. They've budgeted carefully for years, making sure every cent is used wisely. Their pension covers their rent, groceries, and medication, with just a little left over for emergencies. When the government changes the taper rate, even by a small percentage, their fortnightly income drops by $25 or $40. It might not seem like much to some, but for them, that's a week's worth of milk, bread, or bus fares to get to the doctor. That's the heart of the issue. For people living on limited incomes, every dollar counts. And that's why seniors across Australia are speaking out. Some have written open letters to their local MPs. Others have joined pensioner associations or community groups to demand a review. One senior in Perth shared that she feels abandoned by the government after decades of contributing. They say it's about fairness, she said, but it doesn't feel fair when you're the one losing money. Meanwhile, economists are divided. Some experts agree that the system needs to evolve to handle the financial pressures of an aging population. Others say the focus should be on strengthening income supports, not cutting them back. They point out that pensioners are among the hardest hit by inflation and rising living costs, and that real fairness would mean making sure no senior has to choose between food and heating. As the debate continues, the government has released a detailed plan showing how the new rules will be phased in. Starting from March 2025, the first adjustments to income thresholds will take effect. This means that people earning above a certain amount will start to see their payments taper off a bit faster. Then, by July 2025, new indexation rules will be applied, linking pension increases more closely to inflation trends rather than wage growth. This could mean smaller raises when the cost of living stabilizes, even if average wages continue to climb. For singles, the full age pension currently sits at just over $1,116 per fortnight, while couples combined receive around $1,682 per fortnight. With the new system, these base amounts will still increase with inflation, but experts estimate that by late 2025, the real value might not stretch as far as it does today. For seniors with part pensions, things get even trickier. The new taper rate means that for every extra dollar of income you earn over the threshold, your pension will be reduced at a slightly higher rate. That means retirees who try to supplement their income with casual work, small business activity, or investment returns may see those efforts undercut by lower government payments. The intention behind this rule, according to policymakers, is to encourage self-reliance and balance support with responsibility. But the counter-argument from pensioners is simple. Most seniors are already doing their best to stay independent, and the system should reward that, not penalize it. Now, let's turn to how seniors can prepare for these changes. While the details might sound complex, there are practical steps that retirees and soon-to-be retirees can take. First, it's important to review your financial position. Look closely at your superannuation balance, savings, and any other sources of income. Even small amounts of interest or dividends can affect your pension rate under the new system. Consider speaking with a financial advisor or a Centrelink Financial Information Service officer. These professionals can help you understand how the new taper rates and thresholds might apply to your situation. Second, stay informed. The rollout of these changes will happen gradually, and information will be updated through official government channels and community organizations. Keeping an eye on reliable updates will help you avoid surprises. Third, plan ahead for cost of living adjustments. If you're already struggling to cover certain bills, now is a good time to review where you might be eligible for extra help, like rent assistance, energy rebates, or concession cards. These supports are still available and could make a real difference in helping offset any reductions in your pension. Fourth, don't face it alone. Many local councils and senior support groups are setting up information sessions and hotlines to help people understand these reforms. Joining a community discussion or simply sharing your story with others can help you feel supported and less isolated. Finally, let's not forget the emotional side of all this. Financial changes bring not only stress, but also a sense of uncertainty. It's normal to feel anxious when something as important as your pension is affected. But remember, you're not alone. Across the country, millions of seniors are in the same position, waiting for clear answers and hoping that fairness will prevail. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the timeline of these reforms, share real stories from seniors reacting to the news, and explore what could happen next if there's enough public pressure for the government to reconsider some of these rules.